I will get going. And so welcome everybody to the Hyphen CRM webinar. Today, we're gonna kind of just walk you through a demo of what we have for the product. We'll go through a little bit of Q&A. We'll go through a little bit of the background of our approach to the software, and hopefully give you a better idea of what Hyphen is developing here for our CRM. Give you a little bit of background about who I am. My name is Danny Forbes, and I came on the Hyphen team probably 2 years ago. And my specific role was to develop this product. So I've been in home building software for a little over 25 years. I guess it's pushing 30 now. So and all of that time has been in sales software for home builders. So I'm a technical person by nature, but spent a lot of time within the sales realm. So I like to say that my native language is geek, but I speak sales as well. So those two often don't cross over. The Hyphen product itself that we've developed, we'll get into the PowerPoint here. Really what we wanted to do is create a product that was geared towards the department as well as this department. With marketing generates the leads and sales converts them. And with that mentality, our approach has really been to build a software that can boost your lead generation, keep your cycle management for your online sales consultants, to keep everything centralized, have your workflow really kind of right there, but also integrate campaign management, your email in, and also doing black. My web is kind of me. I'm not quite sure why. Sending out newsletters and then analyzing all those results to make sure that you're being effective. So it looks like my output is my network connection is being a little freaky, so I'm going to turn off my webcam. You guys don't need to see me anyway. Kind of gives you a little idea of who I am. So I'm going to turn that off so we can jump right into the product. All right. So when we first jump in, all right, hopefully turning off my web has given you better audio. I apologize for that. Let's into the product. When we come into the application itself, we're presented with a list of customers. So kind of as we've been marketing, the focus of the product really is being able to track customers as well as realtors and the relationship between the two of them, and tracking all of their information as they're coming in the door of the website, registering on maybe some of the aggregate websites like New Horse or Zillow, and bringing all of that information in automatically without having to retype it. And then once all of that information is in, then being able to automate your campaigns, send out newsletters, do the various marketing activities that so with that focus of customers, realtors, and campaigns, you can see across the top, those are my key menu items. In order to select the customer that I want, we just need to either double click on a single row or we can single click on the customer. And we're given really a snapshot of who this customer is. On the left-hand side in the upper left corner, we see that Brandon is a lead. He came in from our new home source integration here. And the community of interests is he's interested in both Brook Hollow and Vista Oaks. And so this area up here that I'm referencing is really kind of an overview, really static information. All of this information, the labels are fixed, but you define what your different sources are, what the different communities that you're tracking leads for, what the different contact methods are. We can default it for you, but really this is very customizable. Area below that is all customizable, whereas you define the questions as well as the answers. We call that the demographics area. Demographics can be single select or multi-select. So in this case, how soon do you want to move? I can only select one, whereas my desired features, I can turn those on and off, can select multiples of those. So back to the top, as far as the overall information we kind of feel is core to the home building process, we have the source, and then we also have the influence. Now, the idea behind this is that you've essentially spent money on different marketing efforts. Sometimes those marketing efforts are difficult to track. Things like your Instagram post or your Twitter feeds, things that are social that people might follow you, but they're not going to be able to use those platforms to give you their information. The source is the platform that actually sent the information in, whether it was a walk-in and the agent manually filled this form out, or they came in off your website, or they came in from some third-party website. All of that is telling you it's very useful information. It's saying how we got this information. That's not the full story as far as attribution goes, and we want to be able to also track other things that they might be following you on. Usually that's your social platforms, but it might be other things. It might be a VIP list or something in the, like if they've signed up for your golf, they come and they play golf at the clubhouse. So that might be another way to something else that's influenced them. So really this is just helps you track the additional influences that help drive the customer coming in, and it's very simple to track. I just click on it, check it off. Grade is your typical ABC, but it might be hot, cold, medium, spicy, mild, that kind of thing, however you would like to grade your customers. But when it comes to realtors, things that Hyphen CRM does is we track not just the relationship with the realtor, but we allow you to market to those realtors directly as well. So I can just click on a list and search, or I can just pick from the large list if I have a rather large list, and the communities I've selected, it'll filter that for me for just the realtors that are working within these metro areas. But we'll see how that relationship comes into play here in a bit when we look at the realtors directly. But in this case, Brandon came in with Starlin as his realtor, and Brandon prefers to be contacted via email. Right, you might see, you may have noticed that I have these icons here, and this is my activity log. So I can pop that out, and I can see that different activities have already taken place. And in order to create those activities, I can just click here on email and start typing in a subject line, and I have fully rich text, what we might call HTML capable form here so that, you know, if I want to bold or italicize or underline or insert a picture or things like that, we can manage a picture library, an image library for you. But that might not be enough. If I want to go full screen, I can do that as well. And we use this format for all of the activities. A meeting is going to have a lot more information than an email is. A note is going to be very similar to an email. It's just going to be saved with that customer. A call is going to have a subject as well as a duration and a time. Then a task is going to be assigned to a different person and show up in their to-do list. But also there might be a bullet point list. So everything that we do, all of the different notes, all fully HTML and can be like here we've got, you know, bold and italicized and things along those lines. All right, so that's kind of the customer information. And last thing to talk about on this screen would be co-buyer, so the additional relationships. I can very quickly add a co-buyer. Generally, the demographics that we track for the customer apply to the co-buyer as well, but you can set up demographics that only apply to co-buyers. And so whatever the use cases there might be, but typically the influence might be different, but pretty much else is gonna be the same and be tracked with the customer buyer. One last thing to say about demographics. There may be demographics that are community specific. So if you have an active adult community and you want to track the different activities that you offer within that community, you can associate a demographic question and answer with a specific community, in which case it'll only pop up if they've expressed interest within that community. All right, so let's move on to the realtors. So like I wanted to really focus on that relationship between the realtors and the customers, and not just treat realtors as when we're marketing to them, like put them in a realtor community or something along those lines. We wanted the software to really express the reality of the industry that we're in home building. And those CRMs that are out there that are generic or, you know, your typical B2B CRMs do this natively. There's always some kind of workaround. And so by being able to design the software from the ground up, we were able to really take an approach that focused on our industry and made these types of solutions where would require a workaround in a different system to just be native in ours. And Realtors is kind of the shining example of that. Now, so you'll see that when I go to Realtors, I get a very similar list. I'm going to use Starlin because I know that he was associated with Brandon earlier. And when Starlin's loaded, you'll see it's very similar. But you know, since Starlin is not the person actually buying the home, we don't have a grade for him. We don't have a stage or anything along those lines. Instead, you know, it's much more simple. But at the bottom we have a KPI, if you will, just a quick little note here that we can see how many leads, how many prospects, how many buyers, bust outs, cancellations, closed buyers, and then dead leads. Those are the different stages that our customers can come in. We can see what types of customers that this realtor is bringing in just at a quick glance. The red are the running totals, whereas the black is lifetime. So you can see Starlin's brought in 4. These are the 4 people, and I can very quickly navigate to them if I need to, just by clicking on their name as well. That we track activities directly to the to the realtors. So I don't have any activities for Starlin at the moment, but I can quickly create easily as well. And we'll see the same thing for him at the far right. Demographics are going to be different between your customers and your realtors, you know, and so you're able to create demographics that are specific to realtors. Some of the use cases examples are, you know, if they're what type of expertise or experience they have, like they specialize in retirement living or first-time buyers. Also, might, you know, specialties might be multi-generation, or they might be on your VIP list or not on your VIP list, or, you know, you can categorize and use this information however you'd like. And the trick here, or the key off of tracking all of this, these demographics and things, is that when it comes to campaigns and we want to separate and segregate, not segregate, but segment our customers and realtors into different groups for marketing purposes, that makes it very easy to do and create those segments. One of the things that is different between a customer and a realtor, rather than just dumping them into a realtor community or something along those lines, is that when it comes to realtors, you kind of get more into that B2B rather than B2C philosophy from a CRM perspective. And what we mean by that is business to business versus business directly to consumer, right? And the key aspect of that is that you're going to have an agency. You're going to group realtors into an agency or a brokerage or whatever a team. That seems to be all the rage these days, is the brokers, the realtors are having team names, right? And so they'll come up with different teams. That's really just, you know, what brokerage they're with. So we have a team name, company name, who the broker is. They keep the designated broker at that agency, and then we can also create demographics for the agencies as well. And the numbers roll up for all of the realtors that are at that agency, so we can see how effective an agency is as a whole. Right. So that is the realtors. And I'm used to doing these demos a little bit more one-on-one, so I can take these pauses and typically ask for questions. If you do have questions as I'm going through this, I apologize. I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning. We go ahead and type them in, and we'll review those questions. We'll have time for that at the end of the session. So once I've entered all of this information, my customers and my realtors, then what do I do with it, right? I can use it. We are integrated into our ERP systems. So, you know, the idea here is that once a customer comes in off of the website, you would have an online sales consultant work that customer, kind of communicate with them directly, get a better understanding of what they're looking for, what products you offer that are going to be a good fit, and then set up an appointment with an on-site sales consultant and start making those lots plan option selections. And so in order to help facilitate that, we tie into our different ERP systems, because it's in those ERP systems that you can then generate a quote, you know, do those lot plan option selections, get into the pricing, all of that. And so, excuse me, once the customer reaches a prospect stage, that's the point in which we're going to start integrating that customer with the sales system. So that's one thing that we can do with that customer, right? But again, being a marketing tool, we want to facilitate that marketing aspect. And so what we want to do is come in here and create a campaign, send them emails, automated campaigns, or newsletter campaigns. And before we can do that, though, we have to first define who our audience is going to be for that email. And to do that, we create segments. It's kind of an industry standard term for just, how I'm breaking up my customer base based on, different qualities and aspects. So I'm going to go through here real quick and just show you how easy it is to create a segment. I'm not going to save it though, just to make it so I'm not coming up my demo environment. But I have to give it a name, and then I can define what the various criteria are for my customers. So I can say I just want, just pre-sales and people who came in off the website and walk in and are only interested in these two communities. And also they follow us on Instagram and are looking for, a bungalow style. However wide you want to make this segment or laser focused you want to make this segment, you can create your target audience. And then once I hit save, then that will appear in my segment list here. The creating a campaign or targeting that segment, I can do two different things here. I can create a newsletter, and this is just, a newsletter is typically just a single blast email. Give it a name, a description. Description is internal only so that other users of the system can kind of see what its purpose is or whatever the case is, in case you have different people creating different newsletters. I can use a template from my existing templates. So again, full HTML emails, kind of that we saw earlier. Or I can create a new one on the fly, and we just start you off with a little template there. But regardless, I've chosen my template, and then I just define who it's going to be from. So it might be from my corporate email, that's more typical from a newsletter standpoint. When we get into drip campaigns, those are typically going to be from a little bit more personal and be from the specific sales agent. But here I'm just going to say it's from our corporate email. Now, we ask the time zone just because we can send it immediately, but more typically we're going to kind of set this up ahead of time and say, you know what, I'm going to send out this newsletter tomorrow on Friday at, let's just say 5:00 p.m. So just kind of as people are getting home and checking their emails for the evening, kind of catch them in that off time. So I'll save that, and that'll blast out this newsletter. I'm gonna hit cancel. It'll blast off that newsletter to this segment. Now, the other type of campaign that we can create is a drip marketing campaign. That one's a little bit more complicated because the idea here is that after somebody comes in or becomes a buyer or changes to either a different stage or different status, they're going to fall into a drip marketing campaign, and that the name of that just comes from the idea of we're just going to send out emails on a regular basis just to kind of stay in front of them. So just one drop at a time. Stay on their radar, keep in touch, make sure that we're communicating with them. So I would give it a name. Define when this campaign is going to run. So I'll just say, again, we'll start it tomorrow, and it'll run for a month or a few months till September. We'll run it through the summer. How often is this campaign going to pick up new people in the segment? Typically, you would say I'd want this to happen every hour, but there might be a time-sensitive campaign or a a campaign that runs 1 month at a time. There are different use cases for saying I'm going to have this group of people, this finite group of people, and it's always going to stay the same, even if in the middle of that campaign, new people are entered into the system that match that segment, they wouldn't get this campaign. That's if I say never. But that's not usually the case. Usually we want to say that, as soon as somebody matches the criteria for that segment, they start getting this campaign. And then what does this campaign consist of? Well, we're going to, pick some emails that we'll send out an initial email, and then we're going to wait just 1 day, and then we're going to send out another email. Probably should have sent out the welcome email first. And then we're going to wait. So I'm going to just repeat this and create my campaign very simply. If I want to delete one, I can just quickly drop that out. And the creation of this might take a while, so I can save it, come back to it later, or once I'm ready, save and publish, and it'll start sending out this campaign based on the schedule and when people come in and become part of this segment. So pretty straightforward for the campaigns. I can also see the different tasks and the email blasts that have gone out recently here on my left. But that's pretty much the CRM and the focus. Last thing that I kind of want to talk about from a design standpoint was that when we designed this, we made it responsive because, I'm in Chrome here, but if you wanted to do this in Firefox or Edge or on a Mac or on your Android or your iPad, all different kinds of platforms that you might be using. And so it is a fully responsive system. So if I am using like an iPhone, you can see that it reorganizes everything for me. And if I jump to, customers, the customer screens are fully, responsive, reorganized to the platform that I am using. So, and I can, pop out my activity. And then if I switch back to big screen, it does that. So using this on your phone, very simple. That's kind of one of the reasons we use these nice big touch-friendly buttons. So being a designer, I also wanted to kind of touch on that as well. All right, so hope you enjoyed that. At this point, we're going to jump into Q&A, but if at any time you want to explore the CRM a little bit further, get a little bit more personal, one-on-one demo of the system, kind of dig in a little bit deeper, just get in contact with our sales team. This is how you can get in touch with us. And with that, I'm going to see if we have any questions that have been typed in, and we'll turn it over to the beautiful voice in the sky.
Thank you, Danny. Yes, we do have a couple questions.
Cool.
First question that we have is, can it integrate with Hubspot to populate leads?
We don't have a integration with Hubspot at this point. A lot of the features and the things that we're doing are really a repetition of what's in HubSpot. So, HubSpot is a CRM and we're a CRM, so there'd be just a lot of the same features and functionality. So I'm not sure about that type of integration. We do have an API, and it's a RESTful API, very easy to create for web people. Easy to create an integration in multiple different languages. Our documentation has code snippets for a lot of those, like Ruby, PHP examples. JavaScript, fetch. So if you know, an integration to anything is really possible as far as feeding in leads, but an integration out of the box specifically with HubSpot is not something we have. But I'd be happy to talk, a little bit further about that use case, and what kind of the needs would be required there.
I have a couple other questions also talking about integration with email tools such as Outlook or Gmail. Like if a salesperson sends an email to the customer from Outlook after they have been entered into the system, will Hyphen CRM pick it up and log it into the profile?
Good question. At this point, we do not. And the plan is it's on our roadmap in order to do that, and we recognize that as definitely an area that, from a tracking standpoint, tracking your customers, we would want to be able to do that and kind of have a single repository for all customer information. That one gets a little bit tricky because we don't want to write anything specific to Outlook or specifically to any platform, but kind of the approach we're going to be taking is still be able to support those use cases, so that if I go on to, if I'm using G Suite corporate, which is Google's Gmail for corporations, essentially enterprise Gmail, if I'm using that, one of the features there is to be able to blind carbon copy a system such as Hyphen CRM or other CRM systems to track that. And so every email could be carbon copied to us, and then we, knowing who it was from, we could, and if we don't have that customer in the system, we just totally drop it, flush it. But if it applied to a customer, we could apply, put that into the activity history. So that's the approach we're going to take, because those features are supported in any enterprise email system. But trying management of trying to maintain an integration with a single email system directly gets tricky and becomes, just from my experience, it's can be draining on resources trying to do that, because then you're like trying to maintain one and then you've got this competing one. So I think the better approach is to do that and let your IT department help us integrate in that manner. And the end result becomes the same. So I apologize if that got too technical.
No worries, Danny. Another question. The website states that we automatically pull customer contact information from the website into the Hyphen CRM. How does that work?
Yeah, that's that API that I was kind of referencing earlier. We'd work with your website developer, and one of the cool things that I like about our API is that we not only allow you to send customers in, but we allow you to pull the CRM to find out which communities you're currently tracking in the CRM, which if that's a drop down that you want to present on your web form, or probably more appropriately would be some of those demographic questions. One of the benefits of having an API that integrates with your website is that the customer enters the information for you, right? You're not duplicating this effort of retyping something in. Every time you introduce somebody retyping something, you introduce a potential for error. And so by allowing the customer themselves to fill out their information, put it on the website, and feeding that directly into the CRM, you're not only making it less prone to error, more stable, but also, saving time. And so the more questions you can ask that customer, and so if you're gonna say, hey, how did you hear about us? Or do you follow us, tracking those influences, do you follow us on Instagram or Twitter, things like that, asking those questions, or any of those demographic questions, you can pull your website can pull the Hyphen CRM so that you only have to set it up once, and then the two are in sync all the time. But the idea is that they'll fill that out, push it into Hyphen CRM, and then we will take that information and feed it, push it downstream into either BRIX or HomeFront as well once they reach that prospect stage. So that uses a different API, but and is more deeply integrated than your website.
Awesome. Did anybody else have any other questions for Danny? I don't have any more in the chat.
Cool. Good questions.
Awesome. Well, again, the contact information is on the screen. This webinar will be recorded and we'll put it on the website. If you guys would like to rewatch it, also be sent to all of you guys since you registered. Oh, we just had another one sneak in. Does the system work well with any chat programs?
We don't have any chat integrations at this point, but kind of one of the, I know there's a few AI chat systems out there, and we initially wanted to create a foundation, what we'd call in software a minimum viable product, but it's this core basic easy to use foundation, and I think we've done that. And then our next steps on our roadmaps are some of these external integrations, such as video emails for BombBomb, email on Acid, or Litmus, which allows you to see what an email is going to look like in different clients. So if you want to kind of preview, what's this email going to look like on an iPhone versus Gmail on an iPhone, or there's all kinds of email on us. It is a great tool. So in those situations, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We're going to integrate kind of with the best products out there. CallRail is another situation where being able to track customers, phone calls, activities of that nature automatically. Those are all on our roadmap, and chat is also on there as well. So that's a good question.
Another one snuck in here. Is there a plan to link with a mass email tool such as Mailchimp or Constant Contact?
There's not. This would essentially be the mass email tool. So you can, those segments could be small, or they can be very large. And really, that's kind of one of the things too I should probably address is the platform that we're using is highly scalable. So whether I'm working with a customer base of, I've got 500 people, this demo that I'm showing is, has a rather small number of people in there, but the speed and everything that we're seeing on screen here, we've done tests with 10,000 people within within the database, and runs just as smooth. It's a highly scalable system. We use, if we start getting into the technical side, we use a NoSQL. We're essentially, I guess a better way to say it is we're using the same platform as systems like Airbnb and Netflix, Disney Plus. They all use the same platforms, that technology that we're using, and even the same environments. So it's highly scalable and really is built for that. And that's something that from the beginning we wanted. These things are out there in the technical world. We wanted to leverage these IT systems that are not gonna bog us down. Once we hit what they might call a critical mass or something like that, it's gonna scale for the long foreseeable future. But with that, comes this this email blasting tool, and so that'll allow you to blast out.
Awesome, Danny. That was the last one. So really appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing
Awesome.
this tool with us. And guess
Thanks.
we'll go ahead and send the recording out to everybody, and everybody have a really great day.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you taking the time to listen in.
All right.
Have a good day.